Welcome to BCB Live. Yes, we are that safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. Where have you been? I mean, we've been off air for what seemed like months, and here we are, Drive Safe, Dave.
I was on assignment. I was out there on assignment for BCB Live Safety, and here I am. I'm back. I've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to report. But I'm glad to be back, Sir Rick. Finally back into the studio and with my peoples, right out there. What are you wearing?
You know what? Today is about America. As we celebrate our truck drivers out there, it's America. We're thankful for you. And Drive Safe, Dave, this is what I got my USA, I got my Sir Rick, and America is represented right here, baby.
He's got rose-colored glasses shining right now, going to look at you through the eyes of America, right? Is that what you got?
I just hope I didn't have to read anything right here because I still can't see, Drive Safe.
I can't even see you. But I almost saluted you. Okay? I almost saluted you when you looked at me, but
you know
we're
what?
back.
That or kiss the ring,
It's
either way, one of those two things should happen.
Pass. Do not pass.
I like that.
And guess what? We're
pass.
back. I'm excited we're back, right?
I'm excited to. Listen, we're still behind schedule. I can't wait for y'all to see the up-and-coming studio where we're going to.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit behind. Let me tell you, we're in historic downtown. And with historic comes historical problems.
Yes.
Like brick problems,
Plaster
any
asbestos
kind of problem. Yeah, asbestos, you name it, it's there.
Yeah.
But we're going to work our way through it as we get ready, and I can't wait for y'all to see what's going to be up and coming. This TV, this studio, everything, the guests are lined up, the different views we have. We have a couch that Drive Safe Dave can lay on, and I can talk to him and work through some of the problems, and I want you to see him too.
The studio's so large in and of itself that they're developing. We're talking about one of those slides for life all the way across the studio so that we can show you and demonstrate that kind of, even there you can have safety in the slide for life.
Dave, so we'll hop into it real quick. It is Driver Appreciation Week. If you're a driver and you're out there, let me tell you something. We couldn't do this without you. I think over the last few years, you've gotten a lot of that credit due that's been due for you for many, many, many years. For many companies, they've stepped in big time to show the appreciation. I want to make sure that you know that the vendors are there behind you to really appreciate you today. We see a lot of brokers out there doing the same thing, finding ways to show you appreciation. Those fuel cards, the fuel stations, the trucking companies. Let me tell you, if you're not feeling loved, you're not feeling, you're not feeling that sincere love from somebody, I'm going to say you're at the wrong place. I'm going to say if right now when we're intentional about saying thank you, if you're not hearing thank you on an intentional week for you, you may want to choose a different trucking company, Drive Safe.
Yeah, and it's not just that. There's so much going on out there. I can't think of a better week to restart up. I can't think of a better week to come back and start BCB Live up, but so that we can not miss the opportunity to thank our drivers out there, not miss the opportunity to remember the heroes that we have out there on the road each and every day, and how important a part they play in making this country turn, and making this world turn, and making sure that every single person out there has clothes and food, and making sure that everything that needs to be done is being done by the men and women that man the wheels across this country. And as you said it, there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there. I know that different vendors that out there, and I know that TAs and Petros and Loves and all these places out there are going to demonstrate their appreciation today and throughout this week. I'm telling you, take it, understand it, and it is from the heart. And I hope that the shippers and the receivers and your trucking companies as well get behind you this week and make sure you know how important you are out there each and every day. We couldn't do this. This country would close. It would close if they did not do what they needed to do.
Yeah, and we know, again, that you know it, you appreciate it, you understand, and we want you to know that we understand and appreciate all the work that you do out there. It's critical. Dave, one of the things we've been talking about during our break, apart, and now that we're back together, it still goes to the analytics of trucking. There's so much analytics going on out there right now. Trucking companies, brokers, shippers, receivers. Let me tell you, we're all trying to understand and use analytics to help us make better decisions. And sometimes those better decisions mean a shipper may want a cheaper price because they're looking at analytics that says, hold on a second, yeah, that's not the going rate for trucking companies. It may mean that, hey, they're using it to find out that utilization that's going on. If your truck's not moving out there, if it's not running, if you're not able to charge that to a customer, well, some of those trucking companies are looking at those analytics saying, hold on a second, I'm not getting the utilization I need to make money out there.
And you talk about that, Rick, and here we are. 25 years ago, we didn't have the data. Mm-hmm. We didn't have the opportunity for the data. We didn't have the means for the data.
We don't even have to go back 25 years. We can really kind of probably go back to 2017, 2018, 2019, because data is that new to our industry.
Yeah, and we're, all the way from paper, all the way to where we are. These e-logs, these computers, these onboard computers, this technology that is not only inside the tractors, inside the trailers, with the freight, at the shippers, at the receivers. There's so much data. We're scrambling to try to really put it all together and make it profitable, right? I mean, and make a means for whether it's trucking, whether it's a shipper, whether it's the receiver. We're trying to find ways in which it fits us to the best pattern and the best way to move through this information.
Yeah, and as we continue to move through BCB Live in the up and coming weeks, you can expect to have vendors on here that source that information, right?
Absolutely.
We want you to get to know who they are. Those companies that focus in on that all of that data to try to make it make sense to you, the trucking company, the shipper, the receiver, whoever that is, that's got to somehow digest that and use the data to make sense. Hey, but Dave, let's hop into some data if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So we've been apart a little bit, over the last, say, 3 weeks, and some things have changed. We're going to start it off real quick with the rejections. All right, Dave, we have the rejections. Back before we left, we were right about 8% rejection. Today, we're down at 5.25%. Now, understand that the data it's measuring right now is still last week. Dave, this is a big week right here because this is the week that we come back to work. You're like, well, how's back Tuesday? What do you mean? We don't work until the following Monday when a holiday's on a Monday. Last Monday was a holiday. Dave, our shipment count today is down to 10,541. Again, that's kind of where it's been at on the high end over the last 4 years, except for last year. But we've got to keep that number on a shipping side, a transportation side, closer to that 12,000 mark, a little north of 12,000 if we can. We were at 12,400 before the holiday, and last week it just went down. So today, a big day, Dave. What do you think about this?
Well, it is. Normally, it takes a week for us to recover from any holidays. And if, as you look across the chart, every one of those huge dips in the graph, every one of those is a week. Because even though it starts on a Monday, it just like everybody falls off the cliff, and it doesn't really get going back again until the following week. So we're going to see where we are as we enter into this week and as we get going and as the data rolls in. But I think we're going to bounce back up a little bit. I think we're going to come back up. We always do. But the week that we were down, well, I think we're going to come back.
Yeah, so here we go. So here's before the holiday, we look at it just right there at 12,000. Falls all the way down to under 10,000 shipments. We moved back to the end of last week to 10,005. I mean, are we at 11,000 tomorrow? Today I'm wondering, where are we going to hit? I don't feel comfortable as you are to go out and call that. I mean, I don't know. Did we go out and spend some money? Did we go out and do additional shopping? Again, we go back and we look at the breaks. I agree they tend to go back, but it takes a little while to get to where it was. I don't think we're going to hit it next week right off the get-go, but we are moving into peak season. Dave, peak season, what are your feelings for that as we are going into that rush? I mean, we are getting to that area.
Yeah, everybody felt a pinch a lot from the summer and the bite with fuel and the rise of inflation and the panic on our dollar and trying to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to spend our money. A lot of that attributes to where we're at in the market today. I think as peak season comes across, there's a huge inventory out there right now. There's a lot of inventory, and at some point it's got to move, and I think it's going to move. I think we're going to have some huge sales. Don't you agree? We're probably going to have some huge sales.
Yeah, we're going to have some big sales that have to hit. We've got to clear out some of this inventory. And again, the inventory that we speak of on these large sales really is that inventory that cost a lot of money to get those goods in here. So it's painful to let them go, but we're going to have to let those go.
Absolutely.
And the pain I speak of was that a lot of that inventory you paid top dollar on. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, the container companies, the container ship companies, they had record profits again second quarter,
right,
which means that they continue to get away with high price. That inventory that's sitting, you paid a lot of money to have it sit in a warehouse, and my God, who's going to make the call that says release it and lose lots of money?
Yeah, because it costs record to get it in here. But you know what? Are you going to sit on last year's stuff and not make room for next year's stuff? You got to make room for it. You got to figure it out. I think it's coming. We got to realize it. I don't think anybody wants their inventories to be at the bottom nail anymore ever again. I think we're going to continue to see this. But peak season's coming. You're still going to go out and buy for your grandparents. You're still going to buy for the grandchildren. Dad and Mom are still going to make Christmas happen.
And fuel
Santa Claus is coming.
Fuel is down, let's face it. I mean, fuel is down from where it was on the gasoline side.
Absolutely.
And that just makes us feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you go to the fuel pumps and it only costs you 70 as opposed to 100, you feel like you got a lot of money, and it's crazy what that does to the consumer confidence.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I think what it's going to allow
It allows them to go further into debt.
Well, it also allows for a little bit more discretionary income, right? I mean, if you're not spending $30 a week on fuel, you're going to spend it somewhere. You're going to spend it somewhere else.
$30.
Right? You're going to spend it somewhere else.
Yeah, but we're spending that and then some. Here we go. We're going to look at some pricing. So, Dave, we're looking at the contract pricing. I tell you, this part right here has really changed. This for a trucking company, a trucking executive side, I would start to like, all right, I don't like where this is going. Guys, hold steady. But this green we see right here, the green mark, these are the initial rates on the freight quote. So as we get these RFPs in, we first go out and we do our first round bid, right? Our first round bid usually is the high side.
Right.
Because we're always going to come down. They come back, they go, you're a little bit high. If you can sharpen your pencil a little bit, we'll get you that freight. Well, Dave, our first round, look at the first rates. They've gone down to 276 from about, really about 285, 287 in that range there. We, the trucking side, the brokers, on that contracted side, we are lowering our rates on round one. and so to my heart, I wonder.
Sold.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what's going on. Are we seeing that relationship with the shipper that says, hey, listen, get your rate here and I'll get you the freight.
Right.
And maybe that's what we're seeing.
Right.
But we are seeing an initial rate significantly lower, which history tells you this, except for last year, is that the blue's going to come in lower. That's round two. That's where it says, okay, I know you said you wanted 276, but if you can give it to me at 270, you can have it.
Right.
That's kind of what we're seeing right now. But I'm going to say I would much rather, Dave, be on that contract side than be on that spot market side.
Devastating area to be in. Difficult one to live in and almost impossible to succeed.
And here we go. Well, let's look at it. We go back, and let me see if I'm showing a year here. We're going to go back a year ago. And again, it seems like yesterday, right? It really does.
It does.
Years fly. All this time flies. A year ago, it was around 280 to 290 a mile on the spot market side.
And we all looked very smart over
Oh,
here.
yeah, we were genius. There was no data. I don't need no data. I can get what I want with what I got.
I'm so smart. I'm so smart when we were back here. Where did I go? What did I do wrong?
And here we are now.
Yeah.
So we've gone from that 280, and data is so daggum critical right now
Right.
because you've got to use it to make yourself, you, the trucking company, the broker, whatever it is you do, heck, the shipper, the receipt, you've got to make sure that you're using data the right way. The spot market side, because the freight's dropped off to where it is, still very high. I want to go back and say that we're as low right now as we've been in a while, but it's still about the average of every other year before. Last year. Okay?
Before
last year.
Yeah.
Last year is don't focus on last year.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, these are the new numbers.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay, so here we go. Rates today, Dave, about $1.90 on that brokerage side, spot market side, and there's not much of it.
No, there's not much out there for anybody to pick from or choose from.
Yep. So you see that side, and you out there, you're still paying on that broker side, hey, or that spot market side, you're still paying north of $5 a gallon on the diesel.
Ouch.
So not only has your rate gone down $1 a mile, now, Dave, your fuel has gone from $3.50 to roughly $5 a gallon.
Right. It did peak for a little bit above that, but it's come back down,
but
not much. It's still very much on the high side. It's still going to affect the inflation. It's still going to negatively affect inflation. It's still going to negatively affect the pricing, and it's still going to negatively affect the contractor out there trying to run under that contract. That brokered freight.
Yeah, the brokered freight, and for those again to make sure, but that's what fuel surcharge is for. I got news for you. Those folks pulling the spot market, they're not getting fuel surcharge. They're getting a rate. It is what it is.
The market.
Hey, listen, we're going to come back. We're going to go to a couple more stories. We got Ralphie Furlong going to join us right back. We're going to talk a little safety with Ralph Furlong. That and so much more right here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. We're going to start at first with an article from FreightWaves, and the headline is Protecting Our Most Valuable Asset, America's Truck Drivers. And Dave, the article goes on to talk, it's just not about the accidents, right? There's a lot of other things that we are trying to do to protect our truck drivers.
Yeah, I mean, most people would think that most injuries that come to truck drivers would come from crashes, and that's not the case. Most injuries that occur to truck drivers out there working today are the simple things, the slips and the falls, are the tripping and falling off of the back of the truck, falling while loading, tripping on the parking lot, tripping out, coming out of the truck, falling down out of the truck. And I'm going to tell you, most of the injuries in the United States today to truck drivers are from the simple slips and falls in and out of the truck.
And Dave, I don't think that we give that the appreciation that we should in our industry. We're so focused on accident-free, and I'm talking DOT accident-free miles.
I get it.
And yet today, today joining us is Ralph Furlong. What Ralph's going to help us talk about, Dave, is this right here. We're going to talk about, slips, right? And probably nobody better to talk about slips and falls than our very own Ralph Furlong, wearing the headgear. He's ready to go. Ralph Furlong, top of the afternoon, buddy. How you doing?
How you guys doing? Great.
Man, we're doing well, Ralph. We talked to you a little bit before. I know you're on site right now. Man, what are you going to talk to us today about?
Like you guys were saying about in the industry of truck driving and slips and falls, absolutely. As far as accident goes, as far as any type of incidents that goes, a lot of people think that, I got an accident driving a truck, or I got in an accident moving my vehicle. But in the reality of the aspects of the trucking industry, I stopped my truck. I got out of my truck. I get out to go grab something in the back of my truck, but I slipped and fell. Now I'm on the ground. I'm injured. Who do I call? How do I get out of this predicament? These are the real-time accidents that happen every day, and it happens throughout the whole country. Slips and falls from the smallest heights, which could be 1 to 2 feet, are just as dangerous how you fall compared to 6 feet falling from a height. Yes.
Yeah, Ralph,
Absolutely.
we spend a lot of time talking about the footwear, about, things you can do to prevent that slip and fall. Talk to me about footwear. I mean, I know you're out there. I know you're on site right now. You got anybody out there working in sandals right now?
No, absolutely not. And I've had that happen to me before. So I'm going to, right before I get to going and showing you a few of the little scaffolding here, this is what I like to do. I like to pretty much watch these guys from a little distance. I watch them. I make sure that everything's concrete, and I get out there and I inspect it. So let's get out there and see what's going on here. Remember, we got foot gear. We got eye gear. We got to have everything in place before you start your inspection.
You know what, guys?
Here we
We're
go.
seeing it live right now. We're seeing a real. Ralphie, I bet everybody's going to run away. They're probably scared of you right now.
No, they're not. No, they're not. As a matter of fact, as you can see here, here's one of the houses that we're doing. And if I lose connectivity, it's because of my earbuds. But as you can see, not only as far as the construction site, but also in the trucking industry, when you're doing any type of activity, any type of safety components, everything comes into play. We got scaffolding here on the side of a building, the mid rail on top, we got the center rail on the bottom, we've got our planks in place. The guys are here stuck in this house, and most of these guys pretty much protect themselves, as you can see, with all the proper components. Not only that, but a lot of the guys with their safety hats on, a lot of the guys are wearing their boots so they don't slip and fall, and they're working this type of aspect. So it's important to wear your PPE for any type of construction, any type of work that you do. That's a key factor to an element for any type of job that you do, especially when you're working in the trucking industry. You're going to deal with a lot of oils. You're going to deal a lot with fuels that are on site. And not only that, that's going to be something that's going to be a hazard for you, is everything that's below it. Here, as you can see, there's no rain. It's all sunny. We pretty much can work through the sun. All the scaffoldings are clear. All the scaffoldings are clean, and pretty much the guys are working on a site that's pretty much safety free.
Hey, Ralph. So when you talk about doing these, when you start going on job sites and you start out the day and y'all go through your safety, is a part of that discussing being careful where you walk, how you walk, making sure the work area is clear, making sure you watch where you're going. I mean, I know we should do all those things, but you do spend time talking about the simple things first, right?
That's right, Safety David. And one of the most important things that we do state, our statement is, a clean job site is a safe job site. And that's one of the things we try to go by. So a lot of the times when you get to a site and it's a disaster, there's debris all over the place, you can't install the scaffolding correct, you can't walk around the building correct, that's a hazard. So we try to mitigate that by telling the guys, keep the job site safe and clean. You can eradicate your scaffolding. It can be done perfectly. We can work safety. We can work safer if the area is clean and clear, and that's a big component for safety. Absolutely.
And also when you were talking about, I like that you had PPE in there and you were discussing it. We each can, and as drivers, we can each have our own PPE, whether it be good footwear, right? As we get in and out and as we go, we're wearing the right proper, flip-flops and socks and is not where you want to be when you're driving. I get being comfortable in the truck while you're driving, but if you're going to get out and you're going to work on the truck, Robbie, how important it is that you use the proper gear in everything you do, whatever job you're doing, and I know you do many different jobs in safety. How important is that proper gear to make it work for you?
Hey, Dave, thank you for asking that. It's so important to try to have these guys with their mentality thinking, I have to wear the right gear for my job. I go on a job site and say, okay, you guys are going to be working with Crocs on, climbing these scaffoldings. Crocs are going to slip. The Crocs are going to be uncomfortable. With wearing the right type of foot gear, wearing the right type of gear, especially for your eye protection, that's key to be able to build safe, to wear safe, and to protect yourself. So as far as in the trucking industry, when you're working on the truck and you're walking out of the truck to go to the back platform, especially for guys that are filling up fuel, those guys need to be wearing the anti-slip boots so they don't slip off the back of their trucks. They're going to be wearing, if they have to wear any type of gear, harnesses per se onto their body, they're going to wear those gears so they don't slip and fall. And these are important things that everybody needs to adhere, needs to comply. And more than anything, their family's going to be happy that they use it on site. Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Ralph, just real talk here for a second. Still one of the top 5 violations we get in our industry is the seatbelt, okay? Something as simple and as important as the seatbelt. I mean, I know you're at these job sites. I know you do all these different things out here, but Ralph, how do we make people realize that the seatbelt's not just there to check a box, that it can save your life? How do you give me some ideas on how we can bring it down, or make it important to somebody else to realize that, hey, when we talk to you about these things, it's not just to talk, it really is about saving your life.
Absolutely. A lot of times we get work. You have seatbelt when you're on the site. It's very key and very component. And when we do safety talks, sometimes images. In the images that we show and the little videos we show for our safety talks, sometimes it has to be some images of some accidents. Sometimes it has to be some images of crash sites. But these are images that are important for the person to realize that this could be you. These are the things that you need to use while you're working in a truck. Why do y'all have to use my seatbelt? Because these things are the things that can happen to you. And by telling the worker that you're only safe, the safety time that you're going to be is as long as you make it safe for yourself by using the safety belts. I know a lot of trucks and I know a lot of these machines that are on site, like the high reaches, the forklifts, they can't work unless you attach the seatbelt. What do the guys do? They put the seatbelt on and they sit on it versus putting it across their body to be able to start the machines. These things can't happen. The seatbelt is there to protect your life, to prevent an accident, and a lot of the times it's basically having the person on site pushing that person, saying, please wear it, think about your life, think about your family. These are key components.
Ravi, when you have these real life, and I like that you use images of scenes and stuff like that, do you ever get it does it ever happen when the guy, before you've pressed on him, when does the light come on? Really, honestly, let's talk about it. When does that light, when you see that, you know what I'm talking about, that light that comes on and says, okay, I actually get it, and I get it, and doesn't that, and how does that make you feel?
Well, a lot of the times when the guy's telling me, thank you, that's one of the things that you don't hear from anybody or any type of workers. Thank you for letting me know this. Thank you, I did not know. And basically, those are the things that we have to pretty much push for the worker to understand and realize safety is important in your life. And we're here to help you. When anything that comes to a point where the risk factor is really high and you have to be there for them, they appreciate that somebody's there to help them. My best attribute to a person when they tell me thank you is because that day I pretty much helped somebody prevent an accident or save their own life. Absolutely.
Hey, Ralph, can you tell me that time, and we got like about 2 minutes, but tell me a time, give me again, I love real life examples where you did make a difference in, say, the life of somebody.
I'll tell you what, I probably made a big difference in the life of a lot of people, especially when I was working in Central America, when I brought the workers' wives to the job site. Because not only did the wives appreciate and see what I saw, where these workers were not using their hard hats or safety belts, but they were able to appreciate and say, I know what you go through every day, and I'm going to make sure my husband does what he needs to do to be safe and come home to his family. That was a big impact for myself.
Ralph, hey, first of all, don't be bringing my wife up to work. But I'll tell you what, I bet you got results.
No doubt about it. One of my favorite stories that you have there, Ralph. I love when you brought the wives up to look at them and say, "Look at him up there. That's your husband. He's not wearing his hard hat."
And he won't. And he won't. I can't get him to wear his hard hat, and he may not ever come home. Can you help me?
That's right.
My goodness.
Yes, absolutely. That was it. My best help was a family help. Absolutely.
I bet they were all wearing their hats the next day.
Yes, absolutely. And not only that, they told me, please don't ever bring my wife to yes.
Oh, man, I love it, love it, love it. Hey, Ralph, I want to thank you. Thank you for taking us to your work site today to show us what safety means to you, because it's not just what we do on the truck side, Drive Safe. Safety really does make a big play in so many different places out there outside of trucking, just like you're doing out there, Ralph. Keep it up, because we are after the same message, and that's the message of safety.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
We're going to make hold on, Ralph. You got to say the word.
Oh, yeah,
hold
before
on.
you get out of here, you know what? You know the routine. You got to say your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
I'm Ralph Furlong. I'm with D.R. Horton and also the World Safety Organization, and I'm with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right. Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate that, man. Always good stuff. Can you feel the passion in Ralph?
Absolutely. I think it's great. And you know what? It's funny how all of these, it doesn't matter if you're at a construction site or if you're driving a truck or if you're in an office or what have you, slips and falls and getting hurt in the parking lot or in your work environment are very real. And they're very costly to companies. And you know what? They're costly to yourself. No one wants to be hurt. Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to be laid up, injured over something like falling. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the most coordinated individual on the planet. I really am not. And to get hurt, and if I've fallen off of, running flatbed, I've fallen off the back of a truck, it ain't good. And you know what? You got to be careful. You got to be safe. And we are personally responsible for our safety.
Yes, and again, that footwear, Dave. When you're coming out of that truck, talk to us. Just make sure we hear it. Why is the footwear so important?
Well, it has a good grip. It doesn't slip. Your foot is secure in your material. Like flip-flops come off easy. They get hung up. So when you spin around and you do your three-point of contact as you come down the truck, you grab a hold of the handle and you step down on that uneven surface, or you step out into the parking lot. There are so many environments that the truck driver gets into when they come out of it. It could be wet, it could be frozen, it could be loose gravel, it can be oily, there are so many environments in which you step out. Even in the dark, a truck driver step out in the dark. They don't really truly know what they're stepping out to always when they're coming out. And I'm telling you, it is important to have the right gear on. It's important to have, you want to make sure you have, the right clothes on. You want to make sure you have the right gear. You want to have gloves, and you want to have all of these things that protect you. Ralphie was talking about personal safety gear, and it extends to so many things. You talked about seatbelts, but I'm telling you, the glasses, you notice he didn't even get out of the vehicle until he had his safety glasses on. He didn't even get out of the vehicle until he had his hard hat on. He had his safety vest on. He had everything on before he even
had binoculars to look at others out there.
I thought that
genius, right?
I got you.
Yeah, you're not getting away with anything if you're under Ralph's watch. I'll tell you that right now. Hey, coming up next is the next watch that we love to all be under, and that's that of Buckle Up Bob. We're talking safety. We're going to look at videos. It's all that Drive Safe and so much more. And what are we watching?
The safest station in the nation.
And welcome back to BCB Live, safest station in the nation. Bob can't talk for a minute. He's out of breath right now. We'll let him get his breath right now. Not a real safe thing to do, put a guy on the spot while he's still breathing hard right now. Bob, you hang in there, buddy. We'll be all right. But we are bringing Bob in because, Dave, it's time that we start talking a little bit about safety. One of the things we do here on BCB Live, aside from giving you all the news you need and so much more, is we come back in and we really do. We do what's at the heart and the soul of what we are, and that's be safe, communicate, and if you can, be on time. Being safe being the most important thing, bringing in our local expert on safety in trucking specific. Buckle up, Bob. Buckle up.
Wow.
All right,
What an
welcome
introduction
back.
that
Wow.
was, Sir Rick.
All
I
right.
appreciate
I
that.
hope you got your air. You know,
I got
I
my
gave you
air.
plenty of time right there to
Did
get
we
it.
shame him to change shirts or what?
I don't know. That's what I saw the same thing.
No, I'm wearing mine.
He probably spilled food on it.
I was going to say the same
That is
thing.
negative. I got my safety shirt on with my sign
So we have
on.
our big meeting that we have every day. It's a huge meeting that we do. It's our production meeting at 11 o'clock. And he's gone to go eat again. So I walked into his, I almost took a picture of it. He's got a burrito the size of like this, about halfway through. Okay, and then he's still, because he's got to, in theory, eat lunch, you know. And I got to eat lunch, you know. He just ate an hour ago. Oh my God!
First of all, that burrito was a mercy breakfast that I did for someone else as a favor. And then
It looked like a food challenge. Like there's no way you can eat this in 5 days, and it's probably still back there on your desk.
It is not.
Is it gone?
It is gone.
But Dave did have to leave to go that. Anyway, we're getting everything
First of
about
all,
the production. It's a
we-
huge meeting that we have that we're all dedicated to. And
First
nowhere
day
to be
ever.
sight.
Well, he misses every safety meeting I invite him to, so, you know, we know where his
What?
priorities are.
Wow.
Oh my goodness! Hey, you know what?
I'm sorry. I'm just piling
He's out
on
doing
there.
some
now they're just
production
piling-
somewhere.
That's a penalty. Pile on is a penalty, and I'm calling it right now.
Speaking of penalties, oh man, I can't believe Bama got away with a no safety call. How'd you do
He
that?
threw the ball out.
They didn't get to the line of scrimmage. It's still a safety.
No
Oh,
safety.
goodness
Oh, my
gracious.
God.
No safety.
That was a pretty good game.
No, it was it's a horrible game that we won. But I always say this: it's better to always win a horrible game than to lose a horrible game.
That's right.
A&M. Yeah.
Ouch.
Good point.
I'll tell you what. All right, so let's not
Hold
talk
on a
about
second. But
Let's not-
Nebraska, we're 2 games into the season. They already fired
fired
their
their
coach.
coach.
Yeah.
2 games into it.
You keep losing to Appalachian State, you're not going to last much longer either. I can tell you that right now. All right, what's our safety topic for the week?
Our safety topic is something that's really growing over the last few years, or maybe the last 15, and I don't see it ever going away because there's more and more drivers on there, and that's aggressive driving and aggressive driving behavior. So we want to start off this week. We're going to talk about it all week. We want to talk about what is the highway transportation's definition of aggressive driving. And just so everybody out there knows, it's any unsafe driving behavior performed deliberately and with ill intention or disregard for safety can constitute aggressive driving. It includes tailgating, erratic lane changing, illegal passing as some of the ideas or examples, which are also, those 3 are also a huge part of the fatal accidents. And then it can also lead to road rage, which is a violent criminal act involving an intention to cause physical harm. So if the state doesn't have, like brake checking may not be illegal in some states. Some states they actually spell it out, but all states consider it a form of aggressive driving, which they don't allow. And so it's just something that goes on out there in our industry, and it's something that we got to be mindful of and watch. Try not to camp out in that left lane. Try not to make that quick lane change that aggravates the person behind you. It's about courtesy. Yielding the right-of-way is a great way to avoid aggressive driving behavior. Even if it's your right-of-way, if you can yield it, you're going to reduce the opportunity for an accident, and you're going to take away the opportunity for an aggressive driving.
If you see this sign right here that says do not pass, don't pass, because the minute you jump out there and try to do it, you've already gotten yourself into that aggressive mindset, aggressive driving mindset, and bad things can happen. And these signs are there for a reason, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about making sure that you don't break the law and you don't do anything intentional with disregard for safety.
Hey, Dave, so Buckle Up's talking about brake checking. You've been on the road. Explain to some of our viewers, because they may not know what that means. What does brake checking mean?
That means moving into the front of a vehicle, getting in front of a vehicle and stepping on the brakes for no reason whatsoever except to cause the vehicle behind you to slow down or having to hit their brakes.
Gotcha. And reasons that we hear, although you say no reason, maybe that the truck behind it, maybe it cut somebody off, right? And the car gets mad, gets it and brake checks it, puts the brakes to make them.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. I'll tell you one of the biggest in the trucking industry is that trucks don't generally drive as fast as other vehicles, and they may take longer to pass. And because they're out in the hammer lane or they're out there in the fast lane passing, and as they get past, a vehicle gets frustrated, runs around, and because you are going too slow for their preferences, they get in front and brake check you and make you run even slower. So they do that to try to get your knowledge or what have you. I think brake checking is a lot more dangerous than people realize. And all it is an overt act. I truly believe it is a form of not just aggressive driving, but I think it's a form of what you call it.
Well, it clearly has a disregard for safety.
Absolutely.
You're not thinking about safety at all if you're brake checking.
No, you're not.
There's no way.
And I'll tell you what, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, so one of the companies that we do some work with, they had a video over the last week that there was a brake checking going on. And then the car, you see the guy saying pull over. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I get brake checked as a big truck. I mean, do I call 911? I watched that video and I'm thinking, I don't know if I get out if somebody gets in front of me, brake checks me, tells me to pull over. I mean, maybe they're telling me I have a flat tire
or fire.
You know, a fire.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they're doing. But is that at that moment? Is it a 911 call or is it you pull over because somebody told you to?
No, it's a 911 call.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I don't want anybody to pull over immediately. I want you to get to an area or a spot in which there's people around. Make sure you, if you can, get up to the next exit where there's a store, where there is a traffic light or somewhere, a truck stop or something that you can pull over, or a business that you can pull over where there's people around and that you have a little bit of a security. You never want to just do it on the side of the road, right out of the way, unless you see smoke. You know, a lot of the times you'll see somebody will wave your hand and there'll be something going on and you know when and where to do it. But I'm going to tell you right now, you don't ever want to just pull off at the side of the road. You want to make sure you go somewhere where it's secure, where there are people, and it is okay. It is absolutely okay to dial 911 and ask for help in any situation that you do not feel safe in. And I can tell you, you know when those moments are. When you've been driving a while, you're out there on the road, you know when those moments happen. Just pick up the phone. You already know. I can tell you right now, almost every single truck driver out there knows what mile marker they're at. They know what direction they're headed. They know kind of where they are. Make sure you notify on a 911 call what's going on, where you're at, and what's happening, because it's okay for them to come by and everything be okay.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that later on in the week. There are some don'ts, and one of them is don't engage. You know, if somebody flags you over and they keep going, you're probably okay. But if they start to pull over, you really don't want to do that. You want to get where there's lots of witnesses, lots of people, and on your way there, call 911. Say,
Absolutely.
hey, I got a suspected aggressive driver, and I'm going to pull over as soon as I can, get to a populated area where there's some people, but just can you send somebody? You know, get help. Absolutely correct.
Hey, Bob, let's look at some videos that we have. All right. Video number one, we're going to look at these and we're going to talk about what we see in these videos. Bob, what are you seeing in this one?
Nothing, because you're too close. You can't see anything. But what you do know, this is aggressive driving, right? We talk about tailgating. What the technology now is, drivers are used to using their eyes. What they don't realize is your eyes, your body is not physically able to judge distances at these rates of speed. And so the system now, for years you've heard them say, hey, 2 seconds, count the seconds, right? Well, now the system does that for you. And so you get an alert in these videos at 15 seconds that you're in an unsafe situation. It doesn't say you're tailgating. It just says, hey, right now you're in an unsafe situation. Please correct it, right? As any other danger you got warned, then you would want to back off out of this. Get out of there. You can't go nowhere.
Too close. You can't see what's going on. It's very dangerous.
Same thing here, a little bit more distance. This is one where drivers, I think, use their vision, right? It looks like you've got enough space. Again, all these new systems calculate your speed and the distance that it's going to take you. If that vehicle in front of you stops, you are, in less than a second, going to hit them. And we know from simulators and statistics that it takes a driver on average 1 to 1.25 seconds just to assess there's a problem before they apply the brake. So you got to pay attention to, trust the systems. It's there to help you.
And here's another one, right, Bob?
Yeah, go ahead. This is
So look, we're talking about aggressive driving. You're in an area that's in a construction zone. It's your single lane. Nobody's going to pass you. You're doing slower than the required speed limit, but it doesn't matter if you realize that you're within a second or a second and a half. You're too close to the vehicle in front of you. If this vehicle collides with something in this construction zone, you're going to hit them. There's no way for you to stop. In fact, you can do the tried and true method of just counting as you pass something. 1001, 1000. You can't even get to the second. You're within a second of the vehicle in front of you.
And let me just say, listen, we're in a construction zone right now. You're not going to go anywhere. You can get a little bit closer, and you're never going to get where you want to any quicker.
No.
Back off, give them room. You don't know if there's construction workers out there. You don't know if there's traffic up ahead. Maybe it's stopped, and you can't see what's in front of this truck. You have got to give yourself enough space to stop. And let me tell you, even at 52 miles an hour, at a second or under, by the time you recognize it's time to stop, you're in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So we talk about this all the time, and we talk about if there's an out available to you. The only out that you have in this area right here is the space in front of you.
That's it.
And you have to make sure that space is available to you to be successful. Make sure you give that area at all times, that area that between you and the vehicle in front of you.
Yeah, and one of the things we talk about a lot too is root causes of accidents, and in this case, one of those root causes is that not self-importance, but the false sense of security, where driver thinks, hey, I'm 20 miles, 18 miles under the posted limit, I'm okay, and it's that false sense of security that can be a root cause of an accident. It's not that you're driving unsafe; it's that you fail to recognize that you may not be able to stop in your lane.
Yeah, back up, give yourself some space. Reduce your speed, give yourself space. If you do those things alone, you're going to make your odds of survival, your odds of not getting into an accident, your odds of getting back home a lot better. It's what we're after right here on BCB Live. Don't forget, we'll be back on again tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
That's correct.
We'll have
Central
our meeting
Standard
at
Time.
11 o'clock. If you want to join us at our meeting, he probably won't be there.
I'll be
need
there.
somebody in there. We're going to talk. Again, send us some emails. Give us ideas of things that you want to hear about. We're going to have some amazing people that we're going to talk to, just like Ralph today, talking about what is at the heart and soul of what we do, and that safety. Until tomorrow, y'all make today the safest day ever, and we'll see you tomorrow on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
All right.